Hey y'all, what's good? It's me, your girl, Amor. I'm ready to give y'all another Amor Wednesday. It's Wednesday, so y'all know how much I've been loving to do these videos. If y'all did not check out my last video, how to finally leave a toxic relationship, please check that out. Like, it was such a great video. I really love that one. So if you don't already know who I am, again, I am Amanda Moore. You just tuned into my series here on my channel. It's every Wednesday. I do videos for just helping people within their romantic relationships, platonic relationships, and even within their personal relationship. I think it's so important to know how you love yourself, because very often it's the same way you're loving other people around you, whether you're romantically linked to them or whether it's just friends, family, all that kind of stuff, y'all. So I let y'all vote on my Instagram story. If you guys want to be able to also cast in your vote every week, please make sure to follow me on Instagram at The Influence of Love, so that way you can also have a say in what topics I end up filming. So you guys were very clear on which one you wanted this week, and it was 10 red flags that prove that the person that you're talking to is just not the one, okay? So I cannot blame y'all for picking this one, because I happen to think that this is a very good topic to touch on too. And honestly, like one day, my topics just come to me very organically. And I was just thinking about, man, 10 different signs. Like, what were 10 things that I know I saw time and time again before I was a happily married woman? And although I wasn't official with certain people that had tried to get, next to me, I thank God Almighty that I never got with those people, not because I have anything against them. I have no unforgiveness in my heart. I'm a Christian. I definitely believe in forgiving people. I think it's a part of being a Christian. You shouldn't hold resentment in your heart. But I just know that before I was fully slaved, girl, I was looking like the help, sis. I really needed this type of video. So I want to help y'all, because I don't know about y'all, but there is nothing more that just gets me than when someone is wasting your time. I hate time wasters. I hate that. It's bad enough that somebody will waste my time, but the fact that they will waste their time, that just gets me. Like, I'm just like, why? Like, it would save everyone's time. We could just be straight up. So let me help y'all out. I have some notes here on my old iPhone, because I didn't want to miss one point for y'all. So we're just going to go right down the list. All right, let's go straight into it. And hear me, these are 10 signs that I'm about to give y'all. So the person doesn't have to cross off on every sign for them not to be the one. But chances are, if it's more yes than it is no, they're lying to you, or they're just basically not the one. They're wasting your time. They're a player. They got some other stuff going on. They're stringing you along. Y'all know the whole thing. Okay. Point number one. Okay. This is one of the telltale signs that the person you're talking to is not the one, not the person you're going to marry, not the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Okay. And this is, to me, the biggest thing. Communication is not clear. There is no consistency. That could basically be 2 points, but I'm gonna sum that up, those two together, because anytime there is no good communication, that means they're not consistent. And there are so many people who end up talking to someone because they like them, they went on a first date, and sometimes people, like, sometimes we get around people and we just really want them to like us, or we just really don't want to like talk to somebody else, or maybe we like something that they said to us, or we felt like, man, I felt like this is the right person. But you can always tell when somebody's not the one. Communication is not clear. They're never delivering on what they promise on. Like, if they say they're gonna call you, they don't call you. They are the busiest person on the face of the planet Earth. And don't get me wrong, y'all, people can be busy, but there is no busier person than someone who just simply don't want to talk to you, okay? So you got to keep it real with yourself. You got to be aware. You have to really honestly really look at the situation and catch a blue's clue, because sometimes as females, we're making a lot of excuses for people. Like, I'm sorry, but... And let me also be clear about one thing real quick, right, ladies? Because you got to make sure you got your own life going on too. Because sometimes you could be, you're trying to get a feel for somebody, and you're trying to see, like, is this the right type of guy for me? And you are stuck to your phone. You can't wait till he texts you. Your heart be beating as soon as that text come through, because you really feeling him, you like him. But you have to honestly also be preoccupied. Like, don't be that person, you have nothing going on in your life, because he didn't text you back 0.2 seconds later, you thinking like, forget it, it's not gonna work out, or he probably doing something. You have to honestly be preoccupied too. Have a life. Like, when it comes to the communication thing, they should be able to let you know if they have other things going on. Like, everything should be clear, everything should be consistent. Hey, I work from this to this time. Like, if you've already been talking to somebody, they're not gonna want for there to be any confusion. So listen, communication, consistency, no confusion. Like, those are 3 things that, man, this could be the whole video right here, and I still got a lot to give y'all. But honestly, so often, if there is too much confusion or hesitation or something's just like not adding up, it's because they're lying to you. It's because they're doing something or they're wasting your time. Communication has to be clear. Like, they're gonna wanna make sure that they're talking to you. Like, if he says he's gonna call you, that he actually calls you. Like, a telltale is a guy that only wants to text you but never calls you. That's odd to me, because anyone who really likes you wants to hear your voice, wants to feel as close to you and as intimate to you as possible. Not like super rushing into it now, because I'm not talking about that type of physical intimacy, but I'm saying, like, you know, they're gonna want to hear you, see you, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's gonna be important to them. So if they're not making time to see you, if they're not making time to talk to you, chances are they cannot be the one, and they're up to some funny business. They doing something, okay? And like, something else, like, right, I think if he's busy or he has stuff going on, you'll know, because like, maybe during certain hours of the day while he's at work, he's not really texting you back as fast, but once he gets off of work, he's texting you back consistently. Like, don't fall for these type of dudes that, you know, they're not doing nothing all day, they don't got much going on in their life. And then, I mean, first of all, I don't think you should be talking to a person like that. Like, if you're a woman, you should have ambitions and goals. Like, aside from just wanting to be in a relationship and be with someone who loves you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is your purpose in life, sis? What are you grinding towards? What are your goals? Like, you need to figure out like who you are as a person. You need to know your identity. If you don't have that, my personal opinion is you shouldn't be dating, because you're going to end up probably dating the wrong person anyways, because you haven't worked on yourself. You haven't figured out who you are as a person. So that's literally what you're going to attract into your life. You're literally going to bring in somebody who's literally doing the same thing, if not worse. But anywho, to me, it's a red flag if a guy is texting you also, and I haven't even gotten to point two, y'all, but just to keep on the communication thing, if he's only texting you late at night, that's a big red flag. Very big red flag. Don't fall for the guy that's texting you at 11, 12 o'clock at night. Like, unless, again, that's his work shift. But like, typically if somebody starts like late night hitting you up, it's 12, 1 in the morning, don't do it. Like, it's probably a bad sign. You want to make sure it's somebody, you know them, and like, you know what they're doing in life before you just met a dude and he like never hits you up, but he'll hit you up conveniently super late every night, you know? So again, I'm not saying that people that aren't honest won't hit you up, you know, once you have something established with them, you know, they'll talk to you any time of the day, but just be careful of those things. Be wary of those things. So let's get to point two, okay? A person who is not the one, right? And these are different. All these signs are different, y'all, depending on where you're at in the relationship, because for some of these, this is if you're talking to a dude. For some of these, this is if you're already in a relationship and you want it to get more serious, or you feel that it is serious, but there's certain areas where the person's not taking you seriously enough, right? Okay. So this is the second sign. The person tries to win you back or win your attention back with gifts or sweet sayings, but doesn't have action that backs it up. So basically, like, you're very into this person, but you notice that like they never fully commit to you, or they're not honest with you. It's almost as if every single time they know you're gonna pull away, they start trying to win you back by saying they're gonna do this and it. Like, a lot of sweet nothings, a lot of promises, a lot of no, I'm gonna come through for you. Like, don't worry, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna bring you this, whatever. Oh, let's go out this weekend. But they never deliver. Like, every single time they could tell you pulling away, or they could tell like you're kind of fed up with them, not really delivering, not really being consistent. You feel like you're being stringed along. They'll buy you a gift. They'll say, okay, let's go out this weekend. Okay, let me know, like, when's your schedule free? I'll stop by. But they're not being consistent with you. To me, that's a huge red flag. That's somebody that's stringing you along. That's somebody just wants you there because they have options and you're one of their options, or they're just not ready to commit, y'all. Like, people have their stuff they got going on. So you got to be real careful with that. Don't let no one trap you with gifts or just saying really sweet things to you. Just saying what they know you want to hear. Because trust me, guys know the way to win a girl's heart back is just to like tell her everything she want to hear. Like, and as a female, it's nice to be told sweet sayings, the sweet little nothings or whatever. But at the same time, it's not, sis. Because what you really want is a guy who is going to back it up with actions. Not a person who just going to talk a real nice talk, a real great talk, and they're really just not serious about you. They're just taking their sweet time and they feel like, you know, they have all day. I think not. Number 3, you can tell you're not the only one they're entertaining. Okay, this is a big red flag that proves they're not the one. So we're not stupid, ladies. Like, when stuff is not adding up, and I don't know about y'all, right? Like, I don't think it's wrong if you're talking to a guy, like you're looking at his social media, you're looking at his Instagram. Don't be obsessive, but I think it's good to, you know, obviously see like you know, what is he like? What type of pictures does he have up? You know, are there girls all fawning in his comment section? Like, you gotta pay attention. Like, what kind of person is this? Because a lot of people can fake looking very sincere and honest, and they might be putting up a front, right? So be very careful if you see that they're entertaining a lot of people. For those of you that may just begin to start talking to somebody, like, if you're already in a relationship with somebody, there is no reason why they should be talking to anybody else besides you. Like, that's not even, girl. Whoo, run for the hills. Like, come on, get a Blue's Clue. You cannot stay there. Like, that's not it. But if it's the case where, like, you know, you're just now talking to him, or you're trying to see if you can establish something, and you see like there's a lot of girls in his comment section, like, that's probably not the guy. Like, he probably thinks he's hot stuff. He probably thinks he's like, you know, Drake or Chris Brown, one of them. Like, just stop. Like, honestly, you need to really pay attention to those type of things, because a guy that's really honest and sincere, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with a guy being confident, but if a guy, you can always tell, like, if a guy's kind of like a player based off the way even girls write on his stuff and the way he responds back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should definitely also ask. Like, I'm very big on, like, if I see something that I don't like, I would ask, like, hey, what was up with that? Or who is that girl? Cause I noticed that you be liking on her. Just pay attention to stuff like that, because sometimes that could really be a tell. Like, honestly, to me, just being able to tell they're entertaining a lot of people, or like they, again, just all the other signs I already said, like they never seen him have time for you, or you see there's somebody they're always hitting up, like on their Twitter, or like someone that you see is always kind of flocking towards them. Be careful, because it could be an ex, it could be somebody they were entertaining before you, somebody who didn't come around and now they're coming back around. Like, you got to be really careful. Just pay attention to those things, okay? When something seems off, accept that it's off. Pay attention, okay? Things aren't off for no reason. So just pay attention to that, right? Number 4, their friends, okay? You will know a guy's not the one when you start realizing, okay, he kind of seems immature. He's not really honest. He kind of thinks he's hot stuff. And you start realizing his friends are just like him, okay? If he has a lot of friends that are kind of like no good, and they're kind of the type of dudes that would applaud him for acting a fool, for like, you know, getting 10 girls at the same time, or like, y'all know when like guys just have friends that all their friends are on the same tip and they're on that same immature way of being, and you know that his friend is cheating on his girlfriend with another girl. Like, be very careful of trying to talk to somebody or befriend their friends, because most likely they're gonna have his back. Make sure if you're talking to a guy that he has good guys in his corner, guys who are respectful, guys who are on their grown man, who are, you know, who aren't doing dumb stuff. Now, I know that even for like the best guy, there might be a dude that he's friends with that, you know, is silly or whatever. So this could be a yes and no kind of situation too. Like, it's not always the case, but I'm saying, like, if more times out of not, you could tell all his dudes are kind of like just scumbag, kind of prick, kind of just bad dudes, like, stay away from him. He's most likely on that same tip, because people really will surround themselves around who they are. And, you know, like the saying goes, you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with. And so if you see he's hanging out with certain type of people, they don't got no morals, no values, no goals, like they're not going anywhere in life, they just real, like they just bummy type of dudes, stay away from that. Because if you're a girl that, you know, you got stuff going for you, you don't want to feel like you have to settle just because there's just maybe one person that took interest in you type thing. You know what I'm saying? So that honestly, the friends one is a huge one for me, because I feel like you can always tell how a person is according to what type of friends they have and what type of people they chill with. And like, are their friends always going out partying and doing dumb stuff? Like, if you're trying to settle down with somebody, you want somebody who's ready to settle down in life and take you seriously. You know what I'm saying? Not somebody who's always blowing you off to go hang out with their homeboys. If their homeboys are more of a priority than you, that's definitely not the one. Like, I think it's good for a guy to have his guy time and his friends and everything like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But just like, you have to understand and notice, like, does he prioritize you, or is everything about his boys? Does his boys come before you? That's not the kind of guy you want to be with. Because if you even try to get serious with a person like that, it's going to be the same thing if you marry them. It's going to be the same thing if you get serious with them. It's going to be the same thing forever, girl. Nobody got time for that. All right, so number 5, this to me is a huge sign that the guy you're talking to is not the one. Like, this to me is just, and y'all really have to know the difference. If he is infatuated with you, if you just met him literally 5 seconds ago and he's already like so obsessed with you to the point where it's like, it's just clingy and it's just annoying, and it's just like, can you back up and let me breathe? Like, they just not the guy. Like, it's just not the guy. He cannot be the one. Because people who are infatuated with you they're just obsessed with the idea of you. They don't even know you. I think that it's a huge red flag for somebody to be so into you and they haven't even taken the time to talk to you, to get to know you. They're just caught up in your looks, or they're just caught up in the fact that they're like, oh wow, like she's talking to me, oh my God, let me eat. Like, it's cool if a guy is into you. It's cool if a guy finds you attractive. Like, what else? Like, they should be trying to get to know you first before they're like all gung-ho about you. They should be trying to get to know you first before they're sold that you're the right person for them. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, people will meet somebody and in a week already start calling them bae and boo and like acting like they're a couple. That to me, that's just moving too fast. Like, come on, like, you haven't even gotten to get to know the person. And you can always tell when a guy is serious. Like, they're going to take their time, not their sweet time where they're going to string you along, but they're going to take their time in the beginning to really get to know you. They're not going to be all sold on you. They're going to actually see, like, they're going to actually try to establish trust with you and try to see like if you're for real, because guys also don't want to waste their time too. So you'll know you're talking to the right guy, you're talking to the one, because he's going to want to really get to know you. So real quick, if I could just speak from a personal perspective, when I met my husband, it was like crazy to me that he really, like, he did not come off hella strong when we first met. Like, I knew he thought I was like a very beautiful girl and everything. Like, he was definitely attracted to me, but he was definitely like not all over me when we first met. Like, he really was just normal around me. Like, hey, how are you? Like, he was really just trying to talk to me. And it took me a minute to like get used to that, because I was so used to people fawning over me. Like, even though I didn't like it, but it was like I had never seen someone take interest in me where they weren't like texting me all the time and complimenting me all the time and like, oh my God, you just this and you that. So as a girl, sometimes that could feel nice, but then also it could feel a bit forward too at the same time. So to me, I felt like that was a really big telltale sign that I was dealing with a different type of person, and a person that was taking me more seriously, because he wasn't rushing into all those things. Like, obviously over time he did start showing it, and you know, like being cute with me and all this kind of stuff, but it wasn't like off rip. Like, and I was so used to people being like that with me that I was kind of like, does he like me? Because I feel like he's like not showing it at all. Like, so it's kind of funny, because to me, that's a huge sign. Like, if you meet somebody and they're so infatuated with you and they're so like, oh my God, and they literally met you 5 minutes ago, they're immature. Like, they're immature and they're not serious about, you know, really taking this to the long haul, and they probably rush into things all the time. Like, they don't know what they want, trust me. And you never want somebody to just be obsessed with the idea of you. You want them to get to know the real you. Like, you want them to care about the real you. And so very often when people don't know how to invest their time into people correctly, they're just gonna get caught up with the look of you. They just want to show you off to their friends or want to be seen with you, you know, so they could feel important. It's just an insecurity. Like, you don't want to be around that type of dude. Number 6, they're trying to rush you into committing. Oh, I hate this one so much. And honestly, like, it's literally like that. Like, they just started talking to you and they're already like, so when you gonna be my wife? Or, you know, and it's one thing to like play, you know, kind of just joke and stuff, but like, you know when somebody's serious. Or like, they just met you 10 seconds ago and they're already like, so yeah, so we finna lock this down, we finna make this serious. And it's just like, okay, I just met you. Like, let's be honest about this. Like, some people, they'll really date somebody from one day to the next if you let them. And so if you're a person that you don't want to waste your time, take your time getting to know somebody. Like, I can't sit here and say there's any timeline for how long you should talk to a person. You have to just be able to read the situation correctly, because some people don't talk to a person every single day, or you may have met them in passing, or, you know, every situation is different, and every person is different. You know, as long as what you have is understood and you know you're clear from the beginning of what you expect it to be something serious. Obviously, you know, I'm talking about people who want to be in a serious relationship. Like, if you're trying to find the one, then you're trying to be in a serious relationship. You're trying to settle down with this person. You're trying to marry this person, like, at some point, right? So I'm definitely not the one, you know, for this idea of dating just to date. Like, a lot of people are very big on that idea. I don't know, especially now that I'm Christian too. Like, I don't believe in that, because I feel like that's a waste of time. Like, to me, if you're dating a person, it's to see if it's going to go somewhere. Like, I'm not going to give someone 3-5 years of my life and it's just like, okay, I just gave you all that time and it ended up being nothing because we were just wasting time spending time together. Like, I don't need someone to make me feel better about myself. I need someone who I want to see, like, are we building towards something, right? So I don't know, at least that's how I was when I was dating. So anywho, Yeah, them rushing you to commit is just not a good sign. Like, somebody who wants to be serious with you is going to take their time. They're going to want to get to know you. They're going to want to make sure like you're the real deal. They don't want to waste their time either. Okay, so number 7 is the opposite. If they're taking their sweet time. So let's say you're already in a relationship. You want to be serious with this person already. You're like, okay, I've been with you for a long time. And you know, if they're taking their sweet time to commit, or maybe you've been talking to somebody for a while and it's just like, maybe you missed something, like they're just not ready to settle down. Like, they don't want to make it official. So, you know, you're wasting your time. The same thing, like, I never had this issue again because I just, you know, me and my husband, like, we always talked about everything. So I never had an issue of like trying to talk him into want to marry me, or like, so when are you gonna marry me? Like, we talked about marriage in our future, but it was just like a mutual conversation. It wasn't like, oh, we gotta be married by this point in time, I can't wait. Nah, like, it was never like that. I never had to convince him. So I know a lot of women get into that phase where they gotta convince a man to marry them. And very often it's because people rush into situations like you already live with them or you've already been intimate with them. And so some men, they don't want to marry a woman if they feel like they're already married to you because they're around you 24/7, or because like they basically, it's like you already live together. So it's like, why have a wedding? Or it's not even about a wedding. Like, some women don't even want a wedding, and some men just, they won't settle down. So if you're the type of female that you wanted a wedding or you wanted to get married and you never discussed that in the beginning, that's a huge issue, because you can't just assume that what you want somebody else wants. And many times when somebody's not the one, they're not going to care about that. They're going to be selfish with what, you know, they want or what they feel is best, right? And again, this differs from person to person. Because of my Christian morals, my Christian values, and because I'm giving this perspective from a godly perspective, I'm always going to encourage women to get married. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like it just, to me, I feel like when God created the family unit, it's what works. You know, so many people, it's like we want to give our kids a better upbringing than what we got, but you have to really look at, you know, how you were raised, how was your household like, you know what I'm saying? And so you really got to be careful with those types of things. Too many people get involved with someone and you get deep real fast with them, and then they just don't want to commit. They'll have a kid by you, but they don't want to get married. You know what I'm saying? And kids are a huge commitment. And so then the child grows up without mom and dad in the house. And so for me, that's why I really believe in marriage. That's why I really believe that there should be, you know, in order for us to prevent all these generational issues and curses that we've had in our bloodlines for so long, marriage should come first, then children should come, not the other way around. Because in order to stop a lot of the dysfunction and a lot of the issues and problems and disagreements, it's just better to do things in God's order. You know what I'm saying? That's my personal conviction. That's what I believe in. That's what I will honestly tell any person is the best way to go. If you want to prevent the whole wasting your time and trying to talk a man into marrying you, it's not worth this is. So definitely don't stick around for somebody that's taking their sweet time with you. Like, somebody who really loves you is going to want to be with you for the rest of their life. And that's not going to be a burden. They're not going to be getting side eye like, oh, why would I want to do that? Like, if a man really loves you, he wants to be with you. He don't want nobody else to have you. That's something me and my husband was talking about recently in a conversation. And he told me, he was like, yeah, like, I knew I wanted to marry you because he told me, he's like, I knew that if I saw you in a relationship with somebody else, I wouldn't be happy. Like, I wouldn't be happy knowing that somebody else is making you happy over me. So you have to be able to understand that a man that really wants to be with you, he's not going to want to see you on nobody else's arm. He's not going to want to see you be happy with another guy. That's how you know you're with the one. Like, the one is going to be like, nah, I'll do what I have to keep my woman, period. Like, they're not going to waste time about that. That's grown man talk. Like, that's another thing. Like, if you with a guy and he's just immature and he don't like, lots of times, ladies, like, we just got to really pay attention. Like, what type of person are you with? You know, what type of person are you trying to be with? If you're not in a relationship just yet, make sure the guy you're with is mature. Make sure the guy you're with he acts like a man, not a little boy. Too many women be trying to, you know, man up a little boy. You're not his mother. You cannot fix him. Number 8. They don't make an effort to make things up to you when you're upset. To me, this is a huge, huge red flag that they're not the one. I feel like a man who cares about you, if you're upset, he's not going to feel good knowing you upset. If something's bothering you, he's going to want to make it right. Even though I think that people can't always make situations right for you, you have to also let that person go through certain things sometimes. And, you know, let things just happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you love people, you don't ever want to see them down. You want to fix it. You want to make it right for them. But a man, especially if he upsets you or he did something to you, like, he's going to want to make it up. Now, granted, ladies, don't be difficult, don't be the person always picking fights. But I'm saying, like, if something goes wrong, if he doesn't care and he's just like, I don't care, what does that have to do with me, he cannot be the one. Like, a guy who really cares about you, he's gonna be hurt seeing you cry, he's gonna be hurt seeing you go through stuff, he's gonna want to be there to console you, to hug you, you know what I'm saying, to be there for you. So if you're going through something and they just don't really care, like, he cannot be the one. So number 9, this is a huge one. The person you're talking to is too perfect. This is for those of you who are just like starting to establish something with somebody, but this person is perfect and it's like they don't do nothing wrong. To me, and again, y'all, it may not be every sign, but to me, this could be a huge red flag. Like, if you're around somebody and they're too perfect, like you can't detect one thing they do wrong, one flaw they have, they're always in a great mood. To me, that could be a show. Like, he always knows the right thing to say. Typically, guys who always know the right thing to say are players. Like, they just are, you know what I'm saying? So you got to be really careful with that one too, because so many women will end up with a guy who he just running the same game on you he running on somebody else. Okay, he's just trifling as all get out. And you got to be really careful with that, because again, guys, they will literally pick out a game that they will literally like just plan out like a science, and they know that this is gonna work. It works with every girl that they talk to. So be very careful. If he seems like Mr. Perfect, like everything about him is just so perfect, like if you cannot detect one thing about him that's off, a little attitude, a little something, you know, he gets a little moody. Like, for instance, my husband, I love him to death. He's amazing. He respects me. He is great. But I noticed when we first started talking, he'll get a little moody after a certain hour at the night. You know what I'm saying? Like, once if we were talking at night, he would start getting moody right before he'll get to bed. So I would notice, like, oh, he gets a little moody. You know, there was one time when we were first talking and he was like a little snappy. I was like, got a little snap on that. I was like, you got a little snap, you got a little attitude. So you got to be able to also feel if they're human. You know what I'm saying? Like, is this person human? Like, they could treat you like gold. They could treat you like diamonds. But are they human? Like, if everything they do is so perfect all the time, be wary, because there's no such thing as a perfect person. I know that we love this idea of a perfect person, but I think that God has designated a person that is perfect for us. You know, someone that he has made perfectly made for us. But someone who's perfectly made for you doesn't mean that they're perfect. It just means that you love them and you accept them flaws and all, right? So again, you know, you gotta be really just vigilant. You gotta really pay attention, because there is no perfect person. Be very careful about that. All right, so last but definitely not least, this is one of the biggest telltale signs that the person you're talking to is not the one. It's a big, huge red flag. And it's that they will never get deep with you. Every time you try to talk to them about something real, whether it be about your life, or even sometimes they're cool with talking about stuff you go through, but if you try to ask them about their childhood, their upbringing, or stuff they've been through, like, they will not open up to you. Like, a man who is not going to open up to you and let him know you intimately, and you've been talking to him for quite some time. I understand if he just met you, and if you just met a person, like, it's cool. Like, people are not going to open up to you. But after a certain point, if you've already kind of established a friendship and they don't really ever talk to you about, even just like, it doesn't even have to be something super traumatic they went through, but just like something that went bad in their day. Like, if they never open up to you about just like things that they're dealing with, it's probably because they don't trust you, let alone they don't trust people, period. And lots of times when people get around you and you could tell like they just don't have trust for people, it's because even though they liked you, even from day one, they already knew they was never going to open up to you like that. And especially if you're the type of person that you've encouraged them to open up and they just don't open up, like, they're hiding something. And they're probably trying to take advantage of you, or they're probably just trying to string you along. Like, a person who really is investing in you is not going to stay on the surface with you. They're going to want to get deep. They're going to want to know the real you. They're going to want you to get to know the real them. Like, that's not going to be something that they're going to shy away from or feel like, nah, like, and there's a lot of guys, like, ladies, they say all the time that females are so insecure, we're so private, and we're so guarded, and we have walls up. Hello, guys are worse when it comes to that. Let me tell y'all something. Guys, like, you will know the second you meet a guy if he's confident, if he believes in himself, if he's really real, if he's really honest. Like, you'll be able to tell that off rip. If a guy is not being real with you, if he's not being his real self with you, sis, he's hiding something, okay? Like, you have to think about it like this. A guy who wants to really get to know you and build a relationship with you, he's not going to shy away from telling you about stuff he's been through, you know? Like, that for me was one of the biggest things. Like, when people will want to get, like, close to me, But then every single time I was like, yo, you haven't been honest with me about this or that. You haven't told me about this. Like every single time I would put those conversations, they would be like, nah, like they would try to deflect, or they would just straight up tell me, look, I don't trust people. And to me, like, that means you're trying to waste my time then. Because we could be cool, we could kick it, we could go out, we could do a lot of stuff. But if you can't trust me, we ain't doing nothing. Like, period. We can't build. We can't build. So you got to be able to be around people who are willing to build with you, who are willing to put themselves out there with you. Love is a risk. Who are willing to take a risk on you. If they're not going to risk it, if they're not going to say, you know what, I've gotten to get to know this person well enough, if they don't have high enough discernment to be able to see if you real with them. And this is my thing, right? Like, if you never lied to them, if you straight up, they know you a good person. They know, like, nah, like, you're really real. Like, you're a great girl, whatever. You're a great woman. Like, honestly, they're wasting time. They're trying to awaken love in you just to literally leave you high and dry later, because they're going to find someone else to string along and somebody else to waste their time. So sis, don't let that be you. All right, y'all. So this is basically my video. I hope y'all love this video. I hope it helps. Again, the person doesn't have to cross off on all 10, but if it's more, you know, if it's more or less half of them, 5 to 6, 7, girl, like that's a pretty bad sign. Like, you just have to be able to tell just based off the situation, read it well. My whole thing is, again, the first thing I said, communication. If things are not clear, ask them to clarify. If they cannot clarify, there's problems. Hay problemas. And you need to bounce. Don't nobody got time to be wasting time, okay? So yeah, that's my whole video. Thank you anybody ended up watching. And y'all make sure to tune in next week for another series of Amor Wednesday. Subscribe to my channel. Please make sure to do that. Like and comment. And y'all be blessed and stay away from mess.